At 6:01, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we call the roll, please?
Schmuckel?
Here.
McCumber?
Oh, here.
Barshef?
Here.
Duel?
Here.
Castanelli?
Here.
McManus? Here. And Horn.
Here. All present and accounted for. First item on our agenda is public comment. If there's any member of the public who would care to address the board at this time, please come to the podium and be so kind as to give us your name and address. All right, we will close public comment, bring it back to the board for review and approval of the agenda and statements of conflict. Do we have any conflicts of interest today?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the agenda as amended. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the consent calendar.
Calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. This evening you have minutes from November 15th, 2022 regular board meeting and November 29th, 2022 special board meeting. Recommend approval. Bills from the general fund, $457,930.23. Recommend approval. From the Gordy Fraser Developers Escrow Fund, Stormwater Reviews, Utility Plan Review, Oversight and Closeout, $11,015. From General Utilities, $3,095, and the total is $14,110. Recommend approval. Item C, consideration of Resolution 2022-29T, a resolution for adoption of poverty hardship exemption policy. Recommend approval. Consideration of proposed new road name Lunatic Lane. Recommend approval. Consideration of setting a public hearing on the 5-year Parks and Rec Master Plan on January 10th, 2023. Recommend approval. Consideration of contractor's application for payment number 9 to Grand Traverse Construction for the Township roof. Recommend approval. Consideration of Garfield Township roof repair, closeout and turnover documents. Recommend approval. Consideration of Resolution 2022-43T, a budget amendment to increase community promotions line item in the general fund by $5,000. Recommend approval. And consideration of Resolution 2022-44-T, a budget amendment to increase capital outlay Township Hall line item in the general fund by $10,000. Recommend approval.
Is there any member of the board who would like to remove anything from the consent calendar for discussion?
Lunatic Lane.
Is there any member of the public who would like to remove anything from the consent calendar for discussion? Or staff? No? And I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion and support to approve the consent calendar. Are there any questions or comments? A roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Duel.
Yes.
Castanelli.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes. Consent calendar is adopted. Next item on the agenda is items removed from the consent calendar, and there are none. Correspondence, none. We'll move on to reports. County Commissioners report.
Good evening, everyone. Brad Jewett, Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, still currently District 3. That will change to District 4 after the first of the year. Just a couple things tonight. One is We do have our swearing-in ceremony for all the commissioners on January 3rd at 5:30 PM. If anybody's interested, it'll be down at the Gov Center there. And then their big item, we actually have been pretty slow lately because of the holidays and stuff like that, but is the ARPA request and everything. We do have 108 applications currently, and it stands at, I'm not sure this is the exact number, but right around that $80 million, give or take, for total request. We have $18,081,000 of ARPA funds at the county that we can allocate to different projects and different things. But anyway, tomorrow we do have a study session that is going to be a public input session for people to come and talk about their projects and everything through ARPA. So if people have projects or they know somebody that does, I would encourage them to come down there tomorrow and talk to us commissioners. Now, with that being said, I will let everybody know I won't be there tomorrow because I will be in Florida about the time the meeting's going on. But not that, I mean, I would really love to be there, but I need to be in Florida for my boys' graduation. So, nice. But them are the two big things. We do have 5 new commissioners. To back up to my first item, we do have 5 new commissioners coming on board this year. We'll have a total of 9 instead of 7, which I think most of you are aware of and everything. So, so there's going to be probably a full agenda starting at the beginning of the year there for a while and everything with more input and everything like that. But look forward to it and look forward to working with all the commissioners. So, with that being said, does anybody have any questions or comments for me tonight? I do have to go to Blair, but I can stick around for questions and comments. So.
I think we're good.
Okay, and if we don't have a meeting at the end of the month here, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody too. So
Thanks, same to you.
You too,
thank you.
Brad.
And like always, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, my information is on the county website with email or phone or whatever. Please feel free to reach out.
Congrats
Thanks,
on the
everyone.
graduation.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep, you too.
Thank you. I'd like to make a slight change in the order here, if I may. Lieutenant Brinks needs to be at Long Lake for their meeting.
Okay.
So I told him I would help him get out quickly.
Well, thank you. Good evening, Brandon Brinks, Garfield Township Lieutenant. Real quick, just the stats for November. Obviously, we had some bad weather at the beginning of November, so crash stats were much higher this month. We had 53 tickets issued, 12 injury crashes, 135 property damage crashes. OWI arrests were quite a bit higher for November too. We had 12 of those, and then 50 regular just criminal arrests, and 147 total crashes in the township for November. Not a lot of community police related stuff last month. Deputy Mikowski did some active assailant classes and then did some animal cruelty investigation training and some things like that. The 5th CPO position that was approved a while back, we have somebody selected for that. Deputy Amanda Peck is going to be taking that spot. She's been with us about 5.5 years, and she's done a couple of stints in Garfield, and when she's been here, she's done a good job and gotten along well, handled the complaint load well, and you know, with Garfield, it's so busy, we have to have somebody that's pretty efficient to keep up with the workload. So I think she's going to do a good job with that. And then Deputy Mikowski is going to move into the community policing role with focusing on the schools. So as long as everything goes according to plan with the other movements taking place within the department, he'll start that soon, where he's focusing on those schools and working with them with complaints, and he's going to be probably in a Monday through Friday role, but we're still working out some of the details with that, and hopefully that comes soon. So any questions for me?
Say hi to our friends
Get
in
over to
Long Lake.
Thank you. Guys, have a good Christmas.
Thanks, you
You too.
too.
Brandon.
Merry Christmas.
Now, the engineers report. Construction report, I should say.
Did we get one? I didn't get one.
Well, good evening, everyone. Jennifer Graham, Gordy Frazier. In your packet dated December 7th, you should have our report.
I'm
Just
gonna
a
squeeze. I did
highlight
not
of-
get one. You don't like me?
She doesn't put them together.
I did not get one.
Did everybody else get one?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, going through just to highlight a few things, and it's kind of it's just a carryover, and I try to update. Let's see, on the water side specifically, later on in the meeting, we'll talk about the Cedar Run water main extension to Black Bear Farm, so I won't talk about that. Tank inspections, again, just to highlight, we've completed those nothing noteworthy. I'm still just waiting for the reports, and once I get those, we'll file them. The Silver Lake Sewer Extension is still slated. It's in for permit, and we'll just cross our fingers for that. They tend to take a while to get sewer permits, so we're patient. Bermley Estates, just for some of you guys that are aware, we're going through doing some flow monitoring. There's some growth on that side of town with the potentially the third and fourth phases of Bermley Estates moving ahead, and we've got a couple sewer trunk lines that we just wanted to implement some sewer monitoring. They're at or near capacity based upon my, not projections, but monitoring that I do with every permit. That's part of my role, is I just continually keep track and trends and monitor where the limiting segments are in all of your sewer lines. So just to help advocate with Eagle, if once we get to be within 80%, we actually stick a flow meter out there just to get real-time measurements. So we're doing that. One question that did come up to speak to, I know Molly and John Syke had heard comments of the Planning Commission level as far as water pressures at Bermley. I did do follow-up investigations because as you guys may know or not know, there's a pretty short water tank tucked away in the woods over there. And so some of the residents that live right in close proximity to that experience some lower pressures, which is an existing conditions that dates back to the 1980s. I worked with the DPW, and we were able to increase the water levels in that tank to optimize it and raise pressures about 6 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, I'll take it. So, I mean, they still meet the 10 state and Eagle requirements, but 6 pounds is 6 pounds, especially if you're trying to take a shower on the second story. So I'm happy to report that that's been implemented for better part of a week. One of the things, and I just emailed Supervisor Korn to this effect, is with the raised tank levels and it being winter conditions, we don't get as much turnover. And so there's potential for freezing in situations like that with water tanks, and a good practice is to install what we call a mixer, and just to continue to make sure that we get good chlorine residual levels and turnover in that tank. So I have reached out and gotten a quote for a mixer. I'm going to kind of prepare a memo and a recommendation to this board at your next meeting for you guys to allow me the ability to proceed with the purchase of that mixer and work with the DPW integrator to get the installation of that. And that's just good practice in general, just to ensure that we have a constant good water quality. So in a budget number for something like that's around $15,000. So I will be bringing that to you guys' attention next meeting. Does anybody have any questions on that specifically? Water study and the Eagle Drinking Water Revolving Fund, that's probably going to compromise the better part of my winter because I was looking for something to do. So just working through that report, we've put a big ask into Eagle. That's where all the infrastructure is getting dumped, and you guys have approved me to move forward with that and basically pulling together a capital improvement project for the entire community, looking at some options to improve water pressures and storage for the entire service area. So I'll be working on that report. The township roof has been complete, and I hope everybody's happy with the installation. I haven't heard anything. It looks great. Got all the closeout packets, so thank you for allowing me ability to assist with that. And then just a lot of plan reviews, stormwater reviews, specifically Windy Hills Phase 2. I did meet with their engineer today. I know that is governed by the tribe, so you don't see it in the planning department, but they will be intending on installing water and sewer infrastructure, which will require an Eagle permit. So I'm happy to share with the planning department any plans so that you guys can see what's taking place there, but they will be submitting, GFA will be helping with plan review, providing full-time construction oversight for that. So they want to get moving next year. Village of Lafreniere and the Oaks we're wrapping those up for turnover. It went well. Beta and South 22 are both slated to start in the spring. They do have all their permits and working through shop drawings. And then again, Bermley, that Phase 3, the Hills Condo site project, I have finished my review and submitting that in for Eagle permits. But I will entertain any questions you guys might have for me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Merry
Appreciate your
Christmas.
time.
Thank you.
I don't think we have anybody from GT Metro here. So we will hear the MMR report.
Good evening, Amy Fairchild, Operations Manager for MMR. Don't have as much to report this time. We do still have some good information. As far as the November calls for Garfield Township, we were at 319. So about 50 calls less than October, but kind of expected at this time of year. Did have, as the lieutenant pointed out, quite a few more crashes in the area with the bad weather, so that kept us busy. You'll notice on the time there's a couple of more delayed priority ones and priority twos. Those did track back to that weather event that came through. We ended up having to shut down all out-of-town transfers and slow down our operations quite a bit just to make sure our crews were safe. We handled all the 911s. It just took us a little longer to get there on some of them. We have, I think I mentioned that we had 5 EMTs that became paramedics last month. 2 of them have completed their training. They are on their own, one here in Garfield Township, one in Manistee. The more we have in Manistee and Cadillac, the less I have to pull from Traverse City, so it's helping the whole area. The other 3 are in process. They're right on track. They just tested a little bit later, so they're just a little bit longer in their training. When we bring in a new basic, these basics have worked for us. Some of them have worked for us for 10 years. But as a paramedic, they have all the schooling and all the nerves. So we put them with another paramedic for a good 4 to 6 weeks, depending on their comfort level and how the FTO is feeling with them, and make sure that they're solid before we turn them on their own. So we are in the process of that. When all 5 are up on the road and running, that gives us about 2 more full-time trucks here in Traverse City, 1 in Manistee, and 1 in Wexford as well. So it's going to help out our entire division, but in particular Garfield Township. 2 new trucks are just about ready to be on the road. We're waiting on the state to grace us with their presence to get it inspected. And as soon as that is done, they're both coming to Garfield Township, one at Station 11, one at Station 12. So we're taking the trucks that they currently have and putting them in our reserves. They still have some life left to them, but they're tired. So we're going to put the crews that run the most in the newer trucks. And I think the last thing is we are bringing a paramedic class of MMRs to Traverse City. It's going to be held at the Regional Training Center out in Grand. It will start in April. It'll be a 14-month course. It is COAMS accredited, it is college accredited, and a program that has worked very successfully in Saginaw and Mount Pleasant, bringing it this direction now. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think that's everything. All right, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And the next item is the Planning Department Monthly Report for December.
Good evening. In your packet is the Planning Department report for December. Just a couple items. Jennifer mentioned the Burnley Hills site condominium. That's going to be reviewed by the Planning Commission tomorrow for findings of fact with a recommendation to the town board. You'll be seeing that at your January meeting, your first meeting in January regarding that development. And that's a 35-lot, single-family site condo. That's actually a second phase to a multi-phase development. This just happens that the first phase was done about 30, 40 years ago. So that's moving forward. We do have a couple applications for preschools at a couple church locations. So that's a result of actually the township adjusting its zoning for allowing child care centers in agricultural districts. So it's taking advantage of some existing churches to allow for those types of uses to go in. Also, probably the big news that everybody's kind of heard about is the former Sears property there, the K1 Speed Indoor Kart Racing Center. And so this is somebody that has purchased the former Sears. It's actually a franchise situation. So there's another K1. It's down in Oakland County, but it's a franchise situation where there's these others throughout the United States. They are electric go-karts. They also do kind of these as gathering places for corporate events and that type of thing. They're also looking to have beer wine license in there as well as for events and so forth. We'll see how that goes in terms of that actual building. That's a large building. It's about 90,000 square feet. So at this point, I don't think they're probably going to occupy the full amount, so there could be some other recreation-related options in there as well. And then finally, just that the Parks and Rec master plan is under its review period, 30-day review period, so you'll be seeing that at your January meeting for consideration of approval. That's all I have.
Sears is going, yay.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It is exciting, very exciting.
Beer and wine and go-kart racing, huh?
Yeah, it's just, and I
Well,
was
there's
just,
no drinking and driving. How's that
electric.
gonna work?
well, and I was just reading, these actually can
Electric,
go
so it'll be
fairly
fine.
fast. They can get up to 40, 45 miles an hour, so I don't know how that all works. but
Yeah, I see in the commercial they wear helmets and stuff, so it must be pretty intense.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we should have our meeting there when they open.
Christmas party.
Ooh.
You're on.
Right.
So, I've got a college student returning home, and she may ask this, Chipotle, when might that open?
well, the Chipotle that was approved, that was supposed to go over on 31. That project, I don't know if it's moving forward. So that was where there was going to be, it's kind of over there near the McDonald's on 31, and that was like a 3-unit building, and they
Yep.
were going to take one of those units. That project has stalled. We don't know if that's going to go forward. However, we did receive application just last week for another outlet development by Wendy's over on Garfield next to the curling center. Now that has 3 units, one with a drive-through restaurant, one with a sit-down restaurant, and then one with a retail use. So don't know, that could maybe the Chipotle one over there. It's the same engineers, but I don't think it's the same developer. So I don't know if we're getting a Chipotle. I think that might be on hold right now. So.
Okay. Drive down to Grand Rapids, I guess.
We need a hotel over there while these are going on. Be close to the airport, too.
Put in our order.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Our next item is the Parks and Rec report.
How you doing? Sean Kehoe, Garfield Township. You got the Parks report in your packet, so I won't read it word for word, just highlight a few things. Derek and I were over at Silver Lake today, actually with Steve, and looking at doing some landscaping over there to create a couple sledding hills over there. So that, as long as it doesn't snow in the next couple days, then hopefully we'll be moving forward with that.
Tomorrow.
The other item under Silver Lake is he has, Derek indicated, working next 2-3 year lawn care quotes. That I see as an agenda item for you guys, so I can really hold off on that, but not much is changing with that. He's recommended Premier and Landgreen, which are the 2 current companies that we use for fertilizing and mowing, so everything should be status quo there. Gonna rope off the parking lots over there pretty soon, at least the ones that we don't want plowed and that we don't necessarily need, just to keep people out of them once the snow starts to pile up. And River East is getting, word's getting out on that. We're starting to see a lot more walkers and stuff over there using the trails. We're gonna update some bridges over there, walking bridges, just because they're old and they need to be updated. And then that way, if we do future stuff over there, we can get a tractor or a lawnmower or something over them, make them wide enough to navigate over them. Boardman River Valley, we've been clearing multiple trees in there, both from 2 aspects of nature, one being windstorms, the other being some rascally beavers that we have down there that don't seem to want to stay on their side of the river. So they dropped 3 trees on our kiosk in the first night and destroyed that. So, and then we spent the next 3 or 4 days, 1 or 2 trees a day on the boardwalk from their activity. So, we're taking care of that. So, one at a time. With regards to that kiosk, we're probably going to relocate that one closer to the trailhead by the parking lot. And we were actually at a meeting at the Nature Center the other day with regards to wayfinding through that whole county preserve and the, our section of the Boardman River Valley. So it's the signage is similar all the way through there and probably even through the Boardman Lake Loop eventually. But so that discussion is being had so that those signs are all the same and people can understand it all the way through there. Everything else is pretty much status quo. A lot of trees down with the winds and stuff over the last month or so, but everything's been taken care of. Yes, ma'am?
There's a big dead tree All right, I know. Is it road commission?
know right where you're talking
Or is
about.
it yours? Right
On
on
Silver
the
Lake?
south side
Just
of
talked
the
about it.
entrance?
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. It's right on the line. And the, Derek said, before I got here, we were talking about with Steve earlier today, that Derek had addressed it with the road commission to try and get them to remove it. And
It's big.
yeah, and they said, I think they were indicating it was more on our side of the line type thing, but that was under a different administrator. They have a new administrator, different administrator over there now, so we'll probably address that with him. If not, then we might incorporate that into a bid from a tree service, because we have some other popples in the dog park that are pretty good size that need to come down too. And despite our amazing skill with a chainsaw, we don't want to
Yeah, that
want to
might be a
replace a
little
fence
tough.
either if we don't have to, if somebody else is
Well,
willing
the
to do
road
it. So,
commission won't like it very much if the wind comes out of the west and that thing comes down on Silver Lake Road,
yeah,
and it's close.
yeah.
It's a mess.
They're easy to cut up when they're down.
Then we get it.
Yeah, once they're down, of course.
Once they're down,
Better
they're
not be my car.
So,
going
yeah.
there.
Anything else?
No, thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Cheers.
Christmas.
Thanks, Sean.
Next is the clerk's report.
I've submitted the clerk's report in writing. We've been preparing with the county clerk to start that recount first thing tomorrow morning.
They're recounting on.
There's a partial recount for the proposals. We have proposal 3. We're recounting just 2 of our precincts. There's going to be Wexford, Leelanau, Benzie, and I think there's another county that are bringing all of their ballots here. We're counting them. The Bureau of Elections will be here. The Board of Canvassers will be here. It's a big deal. I mean,
Wow.
they review it all before we can start counting, make sure our seals are all on there properly. And it's a hand count.
Sounds like fun.
So do we have to provide the personnel to do that
No,
hand count?
it's all done through the county. Betty and I are going to work it, and because we're already here, so that won't cost the county, because we're already being paid our salary to work today, that day. So, yeah, she's trying to keep it, they have to pay, I think, $125 a precinct, which doesn't cover personnel. But a lot of the clerks and deputy clerks are going to be doing the recount. So, yeah, they'll bring in food, and we're here for the day, yeah.
So what prompts that recount? What caused that?
Well, they believe that our tabulators aren't tabulating properly. And the new state law, it has to be a certain percentage before you can do a recount on a candidate. But they found the loophole that, because it's not going to change, the percentage is too far for anything to change on the proposals. But the new language doesn't include proposals. So they can ask for a recount, they just have to pay for it. They're testing, they want to make sure our tabulators are tabulating properly. I get audited every year, every election. They always add up, so I'm not worried. It's going to prove that, yes, they are.
Any questions for Laney?
Thank you. Have fun.
All right. Next is the supervisor's report. A lot going on. The first item under new business is a recommendation to approve the contract for the Long Lake project. I've had conversations, because legally I can talk to anybody I want to on the county board, with 5 of the county commissioners, and they're all had indicated their support for this project, even though it's not a tier 1. So I'm comfortable with it. I'm thinking Elmer's is holding their prices on both labor and parts,
Nice.
but they won't hold them forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll look at that. You know, the city recently signed a new agreement with MMR that specifies terms and conditions and penalties, and we have started a similar process. We are hoping to set up a meeting soon. Amy's working on that. The beta bids came in, and they were very happy. They got at least 2 bids on every segment of the construction, and the bids came in at less than they thought they would. So they're not having to go chase down a couple $1 million more. So that's good news. You know, it seems like lately everything has been higher and higher and higher. So I was glad to hear that. The planning staff and I attended a meeting with the Grand Traverse County Road Commission recently to talk about kind of coordinating our efforts and being on the same page.
Perfect.
I think it was a productive conversation, and the Road Commission manager has committed to coming in and talking to our board probably at our second meeting in February. So we've got a couple new people on the Road Commission, and I think they're helping with the communication issue. So we're pleased. Met last Friday with the Indoor Sports Coalition. They are working up a business plan and working with it's like the Great Lakes Sports Commission. They have some kind of funding that's available. Still a lot to do, but it's moving forward. The Cherryland Rural Electric signed a agreement with the Olson Foundation to buy 40 acres on the property on the south side of town, the big red box. So that is a major thing for them. So they have some cash now to put in a road and to get projects rolling. They have a couple other people that are interested. We're feeling very good about it at this point. And I think Sean mentioned in his report that they just walked several of us had walked the property that's been mined for sand the last couple of years. The property is for sale. I think it might be a very optimistic pricing, but we've entered into a conversation with them, and we're going to probably get an appraisal here soon.
I was going to ask if we can get appraisal on
Yep.
it. That would be a perfect place for a hub for the trails.
Yep.
Absolutely perfect.
It's a beautiful site for a house, too.
Yeah. If you want to spend $850,000 for a lot to build a house on?
Don't be surprised.
I know that one guy is out there,
Yeah,
close to the hospital.
yeah.
Yep. So that's the supervisor's report, unless anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I got a couple for you. With the beta bids that are coming in, how's the housing part of it? Have you had any conversation with them? Are they moving along, Tony and
Yeah.
that crowd, so they're moving?
Yeah, he is-
Are they getting bids and,
They are getting bids, well, they are waiting on the county, on the ARPA.
oh, yeah.
They got $1.5 million, I think, was recommended by the committee that reviewed them. It's not, that's a recommendation, it's not
Yeah.
binding. But that would be, if they can do that, that would put them in a position to start 2 buildings as opposed to 1, so.
Nice.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And then one other thing on the indoor sports Coalition.
Mhm.
Are they excited about the Cherryland Mall? Do they have other ideas about things to do in there?
Um,
Or are we gonna have a sports complex? I mean, more
There-
than these individual?
Yes, yeah, those are, obviously separate from
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
But they're thinking of something more on a grander scale, something where you could hold major tournaments for kids' sports,
there's room there,
Um,
6 acres.
There's room, but there's also
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
issues. There, and nothing is set in stone as far as where it is right now, so we're still lobbying for Garfield locations.
Yeah, great.
Right,
Thanks.
any other questions?
When did the road commission management change?
When did the management change? A while ago, one of the road commissioners left, and I think the two new people that are on there now, one is Joe Underwood, who's got a lot of experience and a lot of know-how in terms of how money flows through the state, I'll put it that way. The other one is Haider Kazim, who is an attorney and I think a pretty stand-up guy, and I think they both expressed concerns, and they're listening to the townships on their concerns. So, and there'll be one more new one appointed here shortly, I believe. So, that's, they were making a lot of progress, and I think they're just maybe got a little spread out too much, but we want them to know what our 5-year plan looks like, and we have roads in our plan, obviously, and we want to know exactly what they have a 3-year plan, but they will get that to us so we can
Work together?
work together, know where we are, and
Makes sense. I know when Jim Cook was in charge, we had lots of communication with him.
Yep.
And then things kind of changed when he left.
Yep.
So,
yeah, Jim was a communicator.
yep,
He had a sense of humor.
yep,
And, he seemed to enjoy talking to groups.
yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there are no other questions, we will move on to unfinished business. And item A is a public hearing for Garfield Township budgets for 2023. That's the General Fund, Fire Fund, Public Improvement Fund, Budget Stabilization Fund, DPW Fund, Park System Fund, Street Light Fund, and Special Assessment District Fund. So, at this point, I would like to open the public hearing. Anyone who would care to speak to the budgets for those funds, please come to the microphone and give us your name and address. And I see 3 people shaking their head at me, so I'm going to assume there's no public comment. And we will,
Do we have to make a motion on that?
no, that's
Okay.
coming up in new business.
I don't see it.
And we are moving right on to new business.
Let's see it. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I saw it. Never mind.
Under new business, the first item A is consideration of letter of recommendation for the Cedar Water Main Extension. And the recommendation is to approve the project and sign the contract. Would you like to speak to it at all? Yeah.
Yeah, this was, as you guys can see from the letter, the better part of almost 6 months ago that we went through this exercise, and it's been a long time, a lot of work on a lot of our ends, and so we all have a lot of aspirations and good intentions involved with this. This started out, as I said, in 2019. Originally, we were approached by both Long Lake and Black Bear. Just for a quick recap, that Black Bear specifically, and that side of town in Long Lake Township is zoned high-density residential, right there that butts up to us. They also have quite high concentrations that exceed the MCLs per Eagle and drinking water standards of nitrates. So when you have high-density residential, a lot of times you have both a community water system and a community drain field system. Well, what can happen with that, especially if you're treating for nitrates in a water system, is you create what's called a brine through that process, which then ultimately you have to take that brine waste and discharge it into your drain field. But that drain field also gets regulated for nitrates. So you can just kind of see the circle. You're pulling nitrates out of the ground, putting it back in, and then you get dinged for it on the wastewater side. So they've been definitely struggling with that on the operations and incurring quite a bit of costs and expense related to that. And an immediate release for them and remedy is municipal water. So that's kind of what started and perpetuated that process. Well, then Eagle over the last few years have been coming out with a lot of grant opportunities. East Bay Township was fortunate to take advantage of a similar grant when there was PFAS that some of you guys may have recognized over by the airport. This is a similar grant that we were very fortunate to get through the state back in, I think, 2020. I started that process. So creating concept drawings, cost estimates from 2020, and then ultimately getting the award of the grant a year later and then bidding it, you can imagine with COVID and material and labor issues, my cost estimates were a little short. Hopefully you guys can see for valid reasons, and a lot of it with timing. So we had a gap of roughly $350,000, so we've just been kind of stale on this project. I had reached out to the contractor to see if there was any cost savings, and we were able to find about 10%, about $30,000 in savings that we can work through with them on a change order. I also reached out to the state to see if they'd give us more money, right? Nope. So henceforth, we're definitely petitioning with the county on the ARPA request. And I know Chuck has been painstakingly meeting with each one of them, and we're very optimistic, but at this point we don't have a full committal from them. But with that being said, I did reach out to Elmer's again, and they are willing and able to hold to their price and ready to pull the trigger. So we felt at this point compelled to bring it to the board again for you guys to review and potentially move forward with us.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So who would cover that $350,000? Garfield Township or Black Bear, who will be benefiting? Long Lake or?
And that, yeah, I can't speak to that. I know, working with Black Bear, they don't have access to those funds to do that. They're paying their benefit fees and work through Long Lake and utilize some ARPA funds for that. So that would be definitely a discussion for this board.
Yeah, I think we have, the way the agreement is written at this point in time, originally the entire cost was covered by the state, and then the benefits were covered half by the township and half by the residents. And on that basis, we were granted a franchise, and we agreed that no matter what, we would, if they wanted to take over the franchise in the future, it was theirs, because essentially we had no investment. So if we have to invest in it, we would want to rewrite that agreement so that it would be a long-term asset for the township. And if they wanted to, at some point in time, have their own sewer and water department, then they would have to consider those costs as reimbursing the township. It would have to be in the agreement.
So you're saying basically Garfield Township right now would be paying the $350,000?
Correct, but that, again, until they decide to take it over and repay us that money, that would remain our asset. We would have a water customer, we would have a lot of water customers there.
Would they be paying, would we get the benefits from their?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my question I was going to ask you. Just
I'm sorry.
No, that's great. You just asked what I was going to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, we do have the benefits of that offsets. quite a bit of it.
When is the county deciding who they're awarding the money to?
A week from tomorrow.
Okay, so could we wait until we know for sure? I don't know how you guys feel, but what are the consequences of waiting, Jennifer?
We don't have another meeting.
You know, it's touch and go at this
2019.
point. I mean, I reached out to Elmer's, they were willing to commit, and so I talked with Chuck, and we felt, we want to have this candid discussion. It's hard to speculate. I know right now they're good, and for this month, and then, we'll approach it then next month, potentially. The one thing I do want to also bring to you guys' attention and it's been on the forefront, and it really is true, is the cliche, if you build it, they'll come. And it's ironically, with the notification and advertisement of this main, just our surveyors being out there, there's extreme amounts of interest, which is really exciting. And there's 2 other developments in Long Lake Township that are waiting for this main to go forward and poising themselves to connect to this infrastructure, which also provides access to you guys. They'll be paying their benefit fees to you guys. So there's definitely a lot of potential revenue to be gained from this through the benefit fees. So there's 2 other developments. Black Bear, their benefit fees were around $170,000, if I recall. That'll be coming in from just them connecting. And then the other 2 developments, I would anticipate collectively would be close to the same amount. So not that that's a decision maker, but it definitely, it's exciting to hear.
So all of the benefit fees come to Garfield Township, or is it through the DPW and we get a portion of it?
They come to Garfield Township.
All of the benefit
Yep.
fees come to Garfield?
And that's what those fees were originally generated for, is to be utilized for capital improvement projects. That's the goal. At some point, the Cedar Run tank is going to need to be expanded when we see growth. We access those funds for all types of capital improvement projects.
Steve?
So with Long Lake having on their east side high-density residential zonings near us, and they're asking for our water to reach them, why isn't Long Lake stepping up to pay the $350 to get the water if we're the closest destination to them?
Yeah, they just became a charter township, so they've been living on 1 mill.
So does the
for everything.
charter, what is the I guess I'm not, what is
As
the
a charter
do
township,
to
you're
that?
allowed to levy up to 5 mills. As a general law township, you levy up to 1 mill.
Okay,
So they just recently became a charter township, which will allow them to,
so they can
Raise-
levy up to 5 on what items?
on anything they want.
Oh,
So they don't have as much money is what he's saying. They can't.
they don't right now, but they will? Or
They
are
will.
they a charter now, or
just
they're?
started.
They
just
are a
started.
charter township now, and they changed the law, because
Yeah.
before you had to be by a vote of the people in order to get the 5 mills. Now it is automatically granted unless there is an election called for by the citizens to remove it. So it's
The citizens of Long Lake?
Right.
Okay, okay,
and so far they have been quiet.
okay.
So I just have one more quick question, Jennifer. So this is gonna cost us $350,000 out of Garfield Township's money, and then, but we will automatically get the $170,000 of it back immediately almost.
When they connect,
When they
yep.
connect.
Yep.
And then the other 2, so will we probably be paid back rather quickly?
Yeah, I would envision, within the next 2 years. Yes, ma'am.
So basically, it's a break even. I mean, if you're talking 170 for one and
But then
possibly
you continue
170
to-
for
But then we
the other.
continue to reap the
benefits.
benefits through the water fees.
So after 2 years, you start making a profit.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, on that transmission. So it's a very unique situation. We don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we don't want to miss opportunities. That's why the best thing was just to bring it in front of this board and let's just have a discussion about it, because it is a challenging one. I appreciate that.
So, in that worst-case scenario, if the county board does not, then we are not really that much at risk.
Is our water down to where the road goes into the high school? Is that where it terminates? Is that where they're picking it up? I guess I'm just curious.
So
on
where we put the tank in,
Yep.
that's where we end right now.
So we
currently.
would come from that location?
Yep, from that location
down.
and head
Okay.
west. Yes, sir.
So I have a
That's
question.
not that far.
No, it's not. It's
Half a
what?
mile, quarter mile?
1.2, it's $1.2 million worth of pipe.
That's what it is, yeah.
Which converts to 300 feet, no.
Chris?
So Westbrook Drive, which is to the west, that doesn't have municipal water currently, does it?
No.
So by extending this, those folks may be able to tap
Absolutely.
into it. So it does have more of a benefit to our residents.
Absolutely.
at some
Yeah. Oh,
point.
yeah, there's a huge access to residents there, too. And that's what I was talking about and alluding to when our survey crews were out there. There's vacant parcels there. And I've had discussions with the planning department as there's opportunities potentially for us to look at, looking at our future land use and, potentially changing some zoning to open those areas up because there's some ag there that's not farmed and utilized and some housing developments that potentially could go in and have access because it can improve their density because they're not grappling with both a well and a drain field and maintaining those isolation distances anymore. So they would be able to build what they need to.
And
So no.
also the high school, I see, has a big project for their sports fields and complex.
Right.
And I don't know where their water exactly comes from, if it's down North Long, probably. But does it?
You're talking
make-
about West?
Yeah, West High School.
Yeah.
So does it make sense for, the individuals who live on Gallagher Road to run it down their road to service the high school's, sport complex, which is much more significant than it used to be, and their watering needs for their lawns and stuff like that,
So those lines are already in. We have, again, that line that runs out to the new tank pressurizes the whole western part of the
Okay.
township.
So Westbrook Drive, those people could benefit, and then more people moving into the east side along Lake Township, so.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's some nice subdivisions out there.
Yeah, there is.
They're all septic and well, but, and they're big lots.
It's a fairly new sub.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to us doing it. Just a couple of questions. Why doesn't DPW want to just do it and have it be in there? That franchise would be theirs.
Right.
And then the other question is, if we decide we don't want to sell that part of this franchise, can we keep it in forever, or is it a deal where Long Lake has the opportunity to buy it into it whenever they want to, or how's that work to dispose of it?
Well,
if we-
the current agreement, which hasn't been signed yet because we've had this issue, just stated basically if they wanted, I think the current supervisor has a vision of water and sewer throughout the township. And he wants Long Lake
yeah.
to be encircled. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so at some point, this would be a small part of that system. And if he wanted to incorporate this into his system, our agreement was fine, that would be yours. They'd still have to buy water, but they'd be buying it wholesale at that point. And what I would propose is if we do this, we would alter that agreement to, if he did want to claim that portion, then there would be a repayment of that, the amount we cover. Because at this point, we are not putting money into it. Jennifer's time has been paid for out of the grant. So we are even up until prices got
Yeah.
Sure.
out of
So
hand.
350,000.
If you're really uncomfortable with it, I don't know that 8 days is gonna make a world of difference.
No,
I'm not
I can't imagine
uncomfortable
8
with
days
that.
would make a difference.
I'm not uncomfortable with it all because I'm afraid that if we wait until the January meeting, because we're probably
Prices
not
will
going
be-
to.
Well, that's our fear is, we didn't think you'd have another December meeting, to
Right.
be honest.
Right, and I'm afraid that in January, the prices might even go up again, and then Elmer's is gonna say no. So I don't have a problem with this at all.
Chuck, just a quick question. I'm a little confused. So if we paid the 350, and then Laney mentioned something about 170,000 or
For the benefit
Maybe
fee. For
the benefit fee.
fees.
Connection.
we get that connection fee. If they wanted that section of the line, do they pay the $350 and the benefit fee is our benefit?
The benefit fee is still our benefit.
So if they wanted that section of line, they'd pay the $350. Whatever we put out in the beginning, they would pay.
Correct.
So
They
we'd
would-
be
they would
ahead
own
of the game
They would
if
own
they
the
bought it.
water system starting at their township line.
Okay,
All the
okay,
lines up to that would be ours.
okay.
So in reality, at the 170,
Citizens can gain.
and then if we had the second ones coming in
Infrastructure
at
hit.
170, we've paid 350, so we're even, but then Long Lake comes in and pays us, then we're gonna be ahead of the game.
Right.
Yeah, they're responsible to pay the debt on the system, which,
Okay.
from our
Alright.
perspective, is the overage we're experiencing right now. The benefit fees, again, are intended for the entire water system that you guys have, and those are fees that are captured and utilized for the greater good. So I would not offer to give them that concession, and
Okay. I think it sounds
Yep.
good, personally.
So you need a, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you go first. Is there any negative impact to our residents who currently use that section of water service? If you extend it, does their pressure go down? Is there gonna be an adverse impact to them?
no, and that's always, that's a great question, Chris, that we always look at, just like with Bermley. And so we have to go through that vetting and basis of design and demonstration. Now, what it does do is it's a catalyst to keep us moving forward, because the next phase of that area is to relocate. Currently, there's an upper pressure district, not to get too thick in the weeds, located over by just south of the school, and that needs to get relocated to the tank. So it has a direct suction and connection to the tank. Bigger pumps put in, and actually a fire pump put in. So that's kind of a catalyst that is, that we've just been kind of putting off just because bid prices are high and there hasn't been a need for it. But this development drives that. And that's when I was saying, like in our engineering report, with what we call the Northwest Service District improvements, that's a phase 3. Now that we've put in the Cedar Run PRV that you guys recall and abandoning those booster stations, this is the final piece to that. So we kind of have a catalyst to drive that. But everybody's going to see the same pressures. It's not going to have an impact on that. There's just, now with more homes, well, now we need fire flow too. Or increased fire flow, I should say.
So you need a motion to go into this agreement, but we need to do it with the changes, with saying that,
Yes.
With the,
Changes to the agreement.
changes to the agreement that says that they want to, they have to
They would
reimburse
still
us.
have the option of,
Purchasing it, but they have to reimburse us.
of owning their
the part of the system
infrastructure
that's,
within their township, but they would have to reimburse us for the amount
The
that we,
overages,
right.
the $350 if anything else.
And I think the timing honestly could work out, because as we work through this project, our goal is always to reduce costs, but sometimes we encounter things.
Right.
And so if there's potentially an increase to Elmer's price, that would get factored into that franchise agreement. So we wouldn't put an actual dollar amount, we would just generalize it and say overages that the township has contributed.
Say overages.
And so I can help, we'll open that agreement up and
Yeah.
add some language and bring it to the next board meeting for that.
So I'll make a motion that we go into, that we sign the agreement with the changes regarding the overages.
All right.
support.
Nope, got lots of support.
We have a motion from McManus and support from Barshef. Are there any questions or comments?
Would we see the document after the vote? Or how, I mean, we're gonna produce the document after we vote? Are those the only changes?
That should be, is that the only change?
Yeah, we have the existing document we've already approved. So the change would be to include language that should they want to claim that within their
That
orders,
section?
then they would repay us the
Okay.
the overages that we covered.
Okay, all right. Good.
Right. Are there any other questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Barshef?
Yes.
McCumber?
Yes.
Dool?
Yes,
Augustinelli?
Yes.
Schmuckel?
Yes.
Corn?
Yes.
I am freezing.
there you go.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Jennifer, all
So-
the hard work.
Mr. Korn, do I still need a motion to approve Elmer's bid and to proceed with their project? Or
To
did your
direct them to
motion include that?
accept the bid.
No, we need to just make let's just make the motion just to cover it.
I think that makes good sense,
Okay.
yes.
Did you say that, Chris? Go ahead.
No, I didn't know if the motion needed to say that we direct Gordy Frazier to accept the bid from Elmer's
That would be,
to complete the water main extension
Support.
We
to
would-
supply Black Bear Farms
we're
and
looking,
Lake Township.
we're looking for a motion to accept the bid.
Accept the bid.
Yep.
And is it the 1389275.00?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to restate that?
I think it was perfectly clear.
Good enough? Okay.
It's as clear as dirty water, but we're good.
All right.
And I supported it.
We have a motion and support. Once again, any questions or comments? And a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Did I call Augustinelli?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did. Okay, Corn.
Yes. Right. All right.
Thank you guys so much, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer, for all your hard work.
Merry Christmas if we don't see ya.
We'll see her Monday.
Next item is consideration of bids for lawn and lawn care services for the 23-24 season.
Can I just make a motion on that?
You may.
I would like to make a motion that we accept the bids from Premier Outdoor and Land Green Lawn Care for the lawn care services and fertilization.
Support.
We have a motion by Schmuckel, support by Barship, to accept the staff recommendations for lawn care. Any questions or comments? And roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Corn.
Yes.
Okay, I was told I have to do all these motions.
You're good at it.
Get clear of that.
Next item is new business item C, consideration of resolution 2022-31-T, the 2023 general fund budget.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution 2022-31-T general fund budget.
Support.
We have a motion and support. If you have any questions about the, who made the motion, let us know. But otherwise, a roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Was it McCumber?
Gustinelli.
Snelly.
See, I got that wrong. Augustinelli.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
And Corn.
Yes. Item D, consideration of resolution 2022-32-T, the 2023 fire fund budget.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-32-T, the fire fund budget for the fiscal year of 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes. Actually, it was dual.
Oh, that was Dool. Okay, Dool.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Can I just
And
make these
Corn.
motions rather than me?
I'd be fine with that.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-33T, the public improvement road fund budget for the fiscal year of 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Are there any questions or comments? A roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Corn.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-34T on the budget stabilization fund budget for the fiscal year of 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Corn.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-35-T on the DPW fund budget for the fiscal year 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Who was that support?
Chloe.
Chloe, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Oops, sorry. I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-36-T on the Park System Fund budget for fiscal year 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool. No.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-37-T on the Street Light Fund budget for the fiscal year 2020, this says 2022, 2023.
Oh, on the,
Nice catch.
We'll fix that. We have a motion. Do we have a support? Was that McManus?
Support.
No, it's Chris.
That was Chris. Thank you. Any questions? A roll call vote, please.
Okay, this was the street fund.
Yes.
Okay.
Street Light Fund.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-38T on the Special Assessment District Fund budget for the fiscal year of 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Who seconded?
Molly.
Castanelli.
AG.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Make a motion, we adopt Resolution 2022-39T. The officer's compensation for the Township Board shall be determined by, never mind.
Clerk salary.
Clerk's salary.
Support.
God, I'm all right. I was reading the wrong thing, sorry.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-40-T with the treasurer's salary.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Barshef.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to do this one.
Might not get support.
Might not get support, right? I make
And what?
It could be tongue-tied.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-21 of the supervisor's salary.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-42, the annual exemption option as set forth in the 2011 Public Act 152 for funding of healthcare insurance contribution act.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Gustinelli.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Barshef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Hang on, I'm sorry.
That brings us to 8O.
There it is.
Consideration of the township's liability insurance renewal plan.
I make a motion that we Jesus Denise, the liability insurance plan.
I'll support, but I got a question.
All right.
When's the last time we bid that out, or do we bid that out? I know it's a municipal insurance, maybe there aren't a lot of options, but,
There aren't a lot of options. It's been a while since we bid it out, so I think we should actually check into that.
so sometime during this year, we wanna just kinda check it out.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good idea. All right, any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Augustinelli,
Yes.
McCumber,
Yes.
Barshef,
Yes.
McManus,
Yes.
Dool,
Yep.
Corn.
Yes. Next item is the consideration of the 2023 board appointments. And I think the majority of them are standing pat, or there are applicants equal to the openings. The first one is the Planning Commission. We have 3 people considering the Planning Commission and 2 seats available. I met with our planning director and our planning commission chair today, and the consensus of the group was that we were comfortable staying with the 2 incumbents. If,
Do we need a motion on that? Or no?
I think we do.
I make a motion that we have Joe McManus and Pat Klein on the Planning Commission.
Support.
We have a motion and support on Joe McManus and Pat Klein for planning. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next on GT Metro Fire Board, we have 2 members and 2 alternates. And we have, the supervisor is fixed. So at this point, Molly has indicated that she is interested in the alternates position. So we have 3 people who are interested in the GT Metro board seat. And I think typically at this point, we ask each member to give us a brief summary of why they want to sit on that seat. We start with Ms. Schmuckel.
Oh, I didn't know I had to say anything.
You don't have to.
As far as the GT Metro Fire, I am a firefighter from a long time ago. Took all the training, but I am just as most of you all know, I am retiring, so I have the opportunity and the time to be able to do it, and it would be a new position for me.
Okay. Mr. Dool.
I think I've been on it 2 years,
Yeah.
possibly,
Yep,
maybe
so.
3, I don't know.
Maybe 3.
I felt I've done a good job. I know there's been some turmoil with the budget. I did beat them up, or we did beat them up back when they had their budget meetings at the metro level. They wanted substantially more than what they got. But it's, I enjoy staying on there. I feel I do a good job. So it's up to the board's consideration.
Mr. Barshef.
I've been on Metro as an alternate for 2 years, and then probably over a half dozen times where I've represented the township. 27 years in law enforcement, interacting with emergency managers, firemen, networking, building emergency preparedness plans for the county and the sheriff department, and teaching in the community. I'm an instructor for Louisiana State University, NCBRT, and I have been for 3 or 4 years, and I teach emergency preparedness around the country, also working with emergency managers and firemen, teaching other communities, police officers, citizens. This board is going into a direction where we're doing an assessment or a review of our fire services, and I feel that with my credentials, history, experience, background, I could really benefit the township at the table when we're sorting that out, more so as, even as a regular member of that committee and not so much an alternate. So I would like to be considered for a little larger role. The only thing is in the event that I have a conflict at work, which doesn't come up quite often, but I would have to be somebody sit in as an alternate to fill my shoes if I were to be put into a bigger role. So thank you for the consideration.
Wow.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we put Chris Barshef on that board as the full-time member. Thank you, Chris. That was very impressive. We have 4 boards that meet regularly with 4 commissioners, big ones that meet regularly. The planning, the rec authority, the park board, and Metro. We have 3 members that are already on, and Chris, you aren't on one of the big boards. And those were some very impressive credentials.
Thank you.
I just think he would do good. I think we have alternates that meet regularly, that go on the board, and I think he'd be good as a full-time member.
I'll support it.
All right. We have a motion and support. Are there any questions or comments?
How do you follow that?
Huh?
How do you follow that?
You vote?
God.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we need to do alternates, and Molly wants to be an alternate.
Right?
We need one more.
We need one
Yep.
more.
I'll do it.
Denise has, well, you've been on before. I mean, it's up to, I mean,
No, I mean, I just,
I would go for the alternate position too. You want to go to 1? You are 1 now, aren't you? You're alternate 1.
I am an alternate
But
right
you're
now.
alternate 1.
Yeah.
Chris was 2.
Yes. Not rock, paper, scissors.
well, can I make a motion to have Molly as the alternate 1?
Yes, ma'am.
I would make a motion to have Molly as alternate 1.
I'll support.
So we have motion and support for Molly Gustinelli as alternate 1. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an alternate 1. On the question of alternate 2, would anyone care to make a motion?
Denise has not ever been on that board. I know Steve's done a great job on it. You have the time to go to the meetings.
I'm gonna be retired.
New
I'll
experience.
make a motion for Denise to be alternate 2.
All right. Do we have a second?
Support.
All right. We have a motion and support for Denise as alternate 2. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion passes. Parks and Rec Commission, we have 4 applicants and 4, so I would say that is done.
I like that board.
Yep.
I love that board.
Good.
Personnel Committee, we have Laney and Chris on there now.
Take me off.
Take you off.
I just put my name on everything because I'll be available.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, aren't I fixed on there, or do I need?
You're fixed.
Yeah.
No, she's fixed.
You and I are fixed.
So take me off that one, please.
Okay, well, then we're good.
All right, we're good there.
Oh, just so Will Scott's coming on.
Yes.
Parks and Rec. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
He's back.
And take me off 5 because I didn't know I was going with against John Sike. I don't want to go against him at all.
Do we need a motion for the Parks and Rec people?
Yeah, do we need to make a?
It's automatic, isn't it?
No, it's, yeah, that's just a,
Oh, okay.
Chuck, I do have a question. We're good on those?
Yep.
Okay. On the committees, like zoning board of appeals, board of review, there's people that are terming out. Do they just automatically roll into the new year? Or were they supposed to submit applications?
my understanding was it was the same situation. There was no conflict. The people who were there wanted to be back, and there were no other
people that were.
Right. I think the full
So we
sheet
just
is,
roll the red ones into being black then? There's a lot of red. Do we just roll them in all those committees in that we didn't vote on to being black and they're just renewed
So
automatically?
like I say, I'm seeing right now that, like the building and ground, it's Steve and I. So that's just gonna be rolled over because nobody else.
correct, nobody
Okay.
else.
All right,
Okay, so everything's rolling over.
if there's nobody else that won, okay.
Right.
So the ones you gave us are the ones that other people had
There was,
Get it?
there was competition on those, so
I
those
get
are the
it.
ones we discussed.
Yep,
I get it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
good.
And we do have to have one of these meetings one of these days.
We're gonna have one of those really soon.
Still get to be elections.
Now I can take more judging contracts.
Item Q, we have an item Q, and that's the Township Board meeting
Go
dates.
to warm, nice
Ah,
places.
okay, the board meeting dates.
Nice.
Any objection to the meeting dates as presented?
Oh, I was gonna ask a question on that. Hang on.
Second and fourth of every month, the second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of every month.
Yes.
The
Valentine's
November,
Day.
Valentine's Day, yes.
the November 28th, I think that's the one, isn't that the day before
That's the tax due
Thanksgiving?
date.
That's the one I was gonna ask on. Let me just double check that.
Which one's that? The-
Oh, no.
14th
I'm
is
sorry,
tax due date. I
20
mean, it's not
okay.
I
a
will be
big
out
deal.
of the country on the 14th.
Oh, nice.
I won't be here on the 14th.
The 14th of what?
February
February.
14th is busy for the treasurer's office, 'cause that's the day taxes are due, but
Yeah.
it's happened before where
Yep.
we just
Okay.
leave, the deputy can take care of it.
So I'm glad to see that you automatically took the second one in December off.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
You know.
It's the day after Christmas.
We can have a special meeting if it's
If
necessary.
need be, but I mean, it's not
don't
on the
Yep.
calendar. So do you need a motion for that, or?
No, if there's no objections, that will stand.
All right, is this my last one now that I have
Do
to?
you want me to make that one?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Let's see, what do we need to do? I need to make a,
See, I'm so used to.
I'm so used to you doing it.
Resolution and then read below it.
Adopt resolution.
We'd like to adopt the resolution 22-45-T, the trustee's salary for 2023.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Any questions or comments? A roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Was that Dual or Bar Chef?
It was Chris.
Okay, got it wrong.
They sound alike.
Bar Chef,
Yes.
He sounds younger.
McCumber,
Yes.
Dual,
Yes.
Gustinelli,
Yes.
Schmuckel,
Yes.
and Corn.
Yes, motion passes.
Yay.
And that brings us back to public comment.
No public.
Shaking heads. Any other business come before the board today?
I do.
Let's start with Denise.
Just so you know, this weekend's ad that was put in about the master plan and planning, it said it was gonna be open till January 10th, 2022.
Seems fair.
So I don't know if it has to be reran,
Mm-hmm.
because it says January, I think it was January 10th, wasn't it? But it says 2022 in the ad itself, so I think we have to rerun that one.
Yep.
Sorry, I caught it.
No, I didn't, it wasn't brought to me to review, so I will.
Yeah,
will
it's,
make
so I
sure
just wanted to
it's-
make sure that that's. Thanks, John, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steve?
The Joint Rec Authority's municipal insurance renewal we just did, and I don't think it was the same name as ours, so maybe check with.
No, it is.
Is it
Well,
the same?
He called me, because we have an increase.
Oh, did he call
also.
and ask you who yours was with?
Well, he knows it's with him.
Okay.
And theirs also went up 15%, right? Yeah.
It went up, and I couldn't remember the number, but I thought it was a different company. That was the only thing
No,
I'd
he
bring it up.
called
If
me.
it's- It might be the
He was-
same.
Yeah,
He just
it's,
called me last week.
Okay.
it's kind of called a lot of times the PAR plan.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same,
It's the
same
same
company.
it's the
Okay,
same.
all right.
It's like Chuck or Charles, you know?
Yeah.
Any other business? Mr. Barsha?
I just wanted to recognize Denise. This Friday marks the end of a 33-year career with the county at the prosecutor's office, dedicated service, and it's been a pleasure working with you, 27 of them.
Thank you.
So, congratulations and great job.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
And I want to make sure.
Not gonna be the same.
You all got your email?
The other thing I want to say, if you don't mind, John, fantastic job, absolutely phenomenal, both of these. I mean, you know I've gotten them before because of being on the parks, but
Which luncheon?
you did an awesome job, and I'm very, very proud of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd have to share that with Steve
Monday.
Hannon. He
Yes,
did a lot of work
absolutely.
on those, particularly the Parks Rec
But
Master
it's
Plan.
absolutely wonderful. When I looked it over for the parks meeting, it was just
Yeah.
phenomenal. You did a great job.
Thank you.
All right, if there is no other business for the good of the township, then we will stand adjourned. Thank you.
Good night.